Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises, glory, honor to Yahweh. In the name of His Son, Yahweh Shah, call Allah Yahweh. By Hashem Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Fisherman Messiah, I'm back with another video through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. All praises, glory, honor to the Most High Yahweh. In the name of His Son, Yahweh Shah. Brother Hosea, back with another video through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. Don't count this as a light thing to do. All praises to Yahweh. In the name of His Son, Yahweh Shah. All praises to the Most High, Lord willing, you enduring, striving to continue to forsake the flesh and the cares of this world. We give all glory and honor to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahweh Shah, Yahweh who we understand and know according to the Paleo Hebrew, the Elisha Kadash, as Yahweh, the Most High God, by Hashem in the name of His Son Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, the righteous, as the world understands as Jesus the Christ, according to the Paleo Hebrew and the Elisha Kadash. And this is the end of the world encouragement. What spirit are you walking in? The spirit of Elisha or Ahab? And we're going to be using these two men, touching on these two men and the spirit that they had as far as doing the works according to being in the flesh at that time through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah, as we're going to be sharing the screen and we're going to be going over the precepts through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah, as we always talk about two things in these last days that the spirit has been on me to be able to talk about as of lately. You know, you either are doing it or you wicked. These two things, you know, it's something that I've been meditating on past, you know, I haven't even been keeping track, but all praise to Yahweh Shem Shah. We're going to be speaking on actions, integrity, and accountability, you know. So like I've been saying, you either doing it or you're wicked. So these two things, you either doing it, and if you're not doing it, you're wicked. So I want to get this in Isaiah real quick, chapter 42, and we're going to start at verse 5 in the green, and it reads, Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 5, and it reads, thus said the Most High God, the Lord Yahweh, He that created the heavens and stretched them out, He that spread forth the earth and that which cometh out of it, He that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein. So in these last days, you're walking in the spirit, you know, of things that you may not even be aware of, because like the Most High said, let me get this real quick in Romans real quick. Romans chapter 15 and verse 4 in the pink, and it reads, you know, sometimes I might come across scriptures according to this video and stuff may already be highlighted. So if it is, I'm gonna just, you know, note, either I'm gonna highlight it or note if it's already highlighted, depending on the verse that I'm gonna be going into. So this is Romans chapter 15 and verse 4, and it reads, it says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. You know, so the Most High has already documented certain things through the prophets, through the apostles, through the evangelists, through the men of the Most High, through as well as women, you know, has already had things documented down for our learning. You know, the generations that were before us and the generation that we're living in now. You know, so the Most High said, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. You know, so we supposed to look, you know, according to the things that were before us, you know, and see, you know, the pattern and the events that took place, you know, because hey, we follow the Most High. If you're following the Most High now, if you're following Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you have been following Him, you know, since the beginning of time. If you can understand that and receive that through the Spirit. Let me get this in Matthew chapter 19 and verse 28, and it reads, it says, and Yahweh said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration meaning you're in a new vessel, in a new body. You know, your spirit has been regenerated into a new vessel, if you can understand. So it says, in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And we know this is talking about the elect, and more so, I'm speaking in the context of this because if you're moving in the spirit of following the Most High, keeping the commandments, believing on Him, having faith, abstaining from all wickedness and folly and madness and idols and idolatry, you're doing your best. You know, you're following the Most High as you were in days prior, years prior, generations prior, decades prior, you know. So even Daniel, let me get this in Daniel real quick. Daniel chapter 12. And I'm going to start at verse. Let me get these two verses right here. It says, Daniel chapter 12 and verse 12. Blessed is he that waited, because we supposed to be waiting on the Most High. We supposed to have patience in these last days. That's why, like the title of the video, the lesson is going to what spirit are you walking in? Because you may find yourself walking in the spirit of, you know, not being patient. You may find yourself being weary because you may have find yourself being distressed for trying to do good. That's why the scriptures say, you know, don't be weary in well doing. So Daniel chapter 12 and verse 12, blessed is he that waited and cometh to the 1,305 and 30 days. Verse 13, Daniel 12 and 13. It says, but go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of days. So here we are all over again. The men of the Most High that have the spirit of Yahweh Shem are back in so-called 2026, prophesying all over again as the women that have been following the Most High, that have the spirit of the Most High upon them to continue to forsake the flesh and the cares of this world to the best of their ability, all over again. They follow Yahweh Shem in this regeneration, and they're abstaining from the flesh, the cares of this world, the idols, the folly and the madness, and they're 10 toes down. You know, so like I've been saying, you either are doing it or you're wicked, and we don't have much more time to be playing around, deceiving ourselves as if we're following the same things that the wicked men and women during the Acts of the Apostles, during the time of Peter, during the time of, you know, James, during the time of Apostle Paul, and the men that was following and doing the work with him. So you're either doing it or you're wicked. And if you're not doing the righteous works of the Most High, then you got to understand that you're moving in the spirit of wickedness. So going back to Isaiah 42, verse 5, and it reads, it says, thus said the Most High God, the Lord Yahweh, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it, he that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein. So we should be walking in the spirit of the Most High in these last days. And Elisha had the spirit of the Most High. Ahab did not have the spirit of the Most High Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Ahab had the spirit of the spiritual demon Satan. That's why it's important for us to understand, you know, and examine ourselves in these last days. Now let me get this in 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. It's already highlighted in the green. So this is 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. It says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves. So you should know what you're weak with. You should know what you're strong with. You should know when you need to pray, when you need to call for a fast, when you need to abstain from certain things, when you need to put your phone down. You know, you should be aware of these things, because we in the time period now where it ain't much more room. Like I've been saying, you either doing it or you wicked. So, Lord willing, you're not distracted by the kids in the background. But sometimes I have to isolate myself to be able to do these videos. Sometimes I do them in the car or whatever the spirit may have me doing, man. But nevertheless, this is Revelation chapter 22 and verse 12, and it reads, it says, "He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still." Because there's no way you can just on a drop of a dime just get yourself in the spirit of the Most High. It doesn't work like that. I don't know who lied to you, who fooled you. I don't know if you think this truth is like a basketball game. You can kind of just take plays off, or you can kind of just move how you want to move, or however you think this is. This is not a trend. This is not a fad. The truth it's life or death. You either moving in the spirit of righteousness to receive life everlasting, or you're gonna get put to death, you know, and all your works will be condemned before you. The works of wickedness, as well as your works of righteousness, will be condemned before you as well. So you either doing it or you're not doing it. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. Now is the time to repent and come back to the Most High and stop playing games. This is the end of the world encouragement. What spirit are you walking in? So let me get this and Micah real quick. Let's go to Micah. Micah chapter 2. And I believe I want verse 6. I'm going to start at verse 7. Micah chapter 2, verse 7. It says, "O that thou art named the house of Jacob, is the spirit of the Lord Yahweh straightened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly?" So you think you can't just look at the Most High's words, his prophecies, his quickening spirit, because that's what we get when we read the word. Because the Most High's word is sharper than a two-edged sword, piercing, all type of things. It'll get you where it need to be. It'll cut you where it need to be cut at. You know, the Most High word is very powerful. Now I want to get Hebrews chapter 4 real quick. I was meditating on this precept while I was trying to talk. So this is Hebrews chapter 4 in verse 12. It says, "For the word of the Most High God, for the word of Most High God is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart." So the word of the Most High can discern certain things. It can have your mind on a whole nother level too. So understanding that the Most High, let me get this in Proverbs. Understanding that this is Proverbs chapter 16. Proverbs chapter 16, we're going to read verse 1 and 2. It says, "The preparations of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord Yahweh." So the Most High orders a lot of things that we don't understand, you know. And even if you have the mind, the wisdom, knowledge, understanding to understand that, the Most High still can go beyond what you can understand. Because like it says in Deuteronomy 29, it says, "The secret things belong unto the Lord Yahweh, our Most High God. But those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law." So the Most High is well beyond us, our mind, and our thoughts. Proverbs 16:2, it says, "All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord Yahweh weigheth the spirits. See that? Let's go back to Micah chapter 2, verse 7. So the Most High said, O thou that art named the house of Jacob, which is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, is the spirit of the Lord Yahweh straightened it? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? So it's a quickening spirit. It makes us alive. It brings us to where we need to be. It gives us correction. It gives us that balance. It gives us that sense of direction. These are things that we can't take for granted. You know, and we can't look at this like it's a regular book. You know, so this is let me get this real quick in Second Timothy chapter 3 and verse 16, and it reads, it says, all scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. So when we need to be corrected, when we need to be reproved, when we need to be guided in the righteous sense, the Most High is going to allow things to be played out in his due time. Now, this is Romans chapter 8, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 4, because like the lesson is going into, we got to be walking in the spirit of either you're walking in the spirit on the righteous sense, according to this topic, Elisha or Ahab. Elisha represents following the Most High, being patient, doing things according to what you are called to do. Elisha was called to be a minister, to serve, Elijah. Ahab, on the other hand, was bowing down to idols, allowed his wife to have strength. As Ahab being a leader, being a ruler, that's wicked for a man to have all his power given to a woman. So on the other hand, okay, so we back Romans chapter 8, verse 1. So it says, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, who walk not after the flesh but after the spirit. As like we've been saying, the spirit that we're walking in these last days should be according to, of course, keeping the commandments, as well as adding on to that, believing in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. So according to Romans 8 and 1, if that's the case, if you're keeping the commandments, the law, statutes, commandments, moving in the spirit of the Most High's judgment, for instance, if a man commit adultery, then you should automatically be in the spirit of rebuking yourself, correcting yourself, not doing that, fearing the Most High, not doing that anymore, turning away from that, because you have Yahweh Shah now, which in times past we used to get stoned for committing adultery. Now there's no condemnation to those that are in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, because you turned away from that. You're not doing that anymore. Verse 2, it says, for the law of the spirit of life in HaMashiach Yahweh Shah hath made me free from the law of sin and death. So therefore, if that man was to commit adultery, or that woman was to commit adultery, now that she believes and accept Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, which is the atonement, now we are free from that sin of being put to death, which we were supposed to be put to death according to certain commandments. Verse 3, for what the law could not do, and that it was weak through the flesh, Most High God sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. Because your flesh is something you have to fight every day. You have to fight those thoughts. You have to fight that temptation that may come your way. You may have to resist Satan for a season, and he'll leave and then come back. because it's a non-stop. It's non-stop. So these are things that we have to be aware of, walking in the spirit of righteousness or walking in the spirit of wickedness. Now, I want to get this in Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16, and it reads, it says, "This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." So at times you may not walk in the spirit and you may go off. Does that mean you the spiritual demon Satan? Does that mean the spiritual demon Satan has overthrown you? You got to understand, like it says in 2nd Ezra chapter 4 verse 30, we was programmed to understand this evil and this good that we have to battle every day. Now I'm gonna read this in 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 29 and verse 30. It says, if the 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 29 in the Apocrypha, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. Verse 30, for the grain of evil seed had been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness had it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth unto the time of threshing come. So we have been given, something that the angels also have been given. I'm trying to remember this precept. I might not be able to get it. Let me see. Let's go to. I'm gonna just go to Genesis real quick until I can remember this precept. Lord willing, this is Genesis chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 5, and it reads. It says, "For Most High God, power doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil." So a lot of times you may find yourself going through some things as far as battling the flesh, and that's the position that we're in now. Forsaking the flesh and the cares of this world, the daily battles. That's why Yahweh Shah said, in let me see, what precept this is. This is Matthew chapter 16 and verse 24. It says, "Then said Yahweh Shah unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." So you have to take up all of these burdens, and you have to follow Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. You have to deal with all of the forsaking and the thoughts that may try to overthrow you. Now I want to get this precept real quick. Let me see where this precept at. Let me see. I might have to find this real quick. Let me see. Salaki. I don't know why I was thinking. Now this is Matthew chapter 11, and I'm gonna start at verse 28, and it reads, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me." So this is the opportunity that we're patiently waiting for Yahweh Shah HaMashiach to return. This is opportunity to continue to learn of him as well. Being in the truth, forsaking the flesh. Yahweh Shah forsook the flesh as well. As well as the rest of the mighty men that we can look towards. It says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
And thou, Capernaum,
So this
which
is
art exalted
lesson
unto heaven,
that we
shalt
can
be brought
follow.
down to hell. For if the mighty
Now,
works,
Elisha,
which have been done in
the significant about this lesson, Elisha was a man that actually, before I get there, I want to get this real quick. It's a rat. Chapter 44 and verse 1. Now the Most High said, Sirach chapter 44 and verse 1, the Apocrypha Ecclesiasticus 44 and verse 1, it says, now let us praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. The Lord Yahweh Shem Shah hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning, such as did bear rule in their kingdoms, men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecies. So Elisha, was a man that ministered behind Elijah. So let's go to First Kings. First Kings chapter 19. And I'm gonna start at verse 16. First Kings 19 and 16, and it reads, it says, and Jehu, the son of Nimshah, shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel, and Elisha, and the Most High is telling Elijah to do these things. So when you read this and you read down to verse 16, I'm gonna start at verse 13. 1 Kings 19:13, and it was so when Elijah heard it that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entering in of the cave, and behold, there came a voice unto him and said, what doest thou here, Elijah? So Elijah was removing himself from the fact that Jezebel was wanting to kill all of the prophets. So at this time, the Most High is telling him to remove himself from that cave and to go out. And this is where we get to verse 16. 1 Kings 19 and 16. And Jehu the son of Nimshah shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel, and Elisha the son of Shaphat of Abel Mahola shalt thou anoint to be prophet in the room. So Elisha was called to be behind Elijah as one that's prophesying and doing the work of the Most High. Now, going down to verse 19, 1 Kings 19 and 19, it reads, it says, so he departed thence and found Elisha the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he with the 12th. And Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him, and he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. And he said unto him, go back again, for what have I done to thee? So at this point, Elisha was called to minister unto Elijah. So if you call to minister, if you call to serve, it's not just you call to just be a servant unto that person. You most importantly doing it to the Most High, because the Most High uses us. Let me get this in Numbers chapter 16. The Most High uses us as well as anybody else. So if the Most High brings somebody to you to introduce the truth to you, to give you the understanding of the scriptures, the knowledge, the mysteries, the prophecies, you're basically the same way as Elisha. So you can't look at that aspect. You can't look at that situation as if it has no significant impact on your life, because it's the same exact way Elisha was called to be an assistant to Elijah, even if you want to use that word of assistant, because the Most High allow us to learn from somebody so we can use that and grow and build up in the next phase. So this is Numbers chapter 16 and verse 22, and it reads, "And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the Most High God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation?" So the Most High, he's the most high power of all the spirits of all flesh. So if he want to allow you to learn from Elijah, allow you to minister to Elijah, you're doing that as working for the Most High, most importantly. So going back to 1 Kings chapter 19 and verse 20, 1 Kings 19 to 20, "And he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, Let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. And he said unto him, Go back again, for what have I done to thee?" Verse 21, "And he returned back from him
And
and took a yoke of oxen and slew them, and bore their flesh with the instruments of the oxen, and gave unto the people, and they did eat.
the
Then he
Lord said
arose
unto him,
and went
Go,
after Elijah
return on
to
thy way to
minister
the
unto
wilderness
him."
of Damascus,
So one
and when
thing
thou
about
comest,
Elisha
anoint
was
Hazael to be
that
king
he
over Syria,
destroyed
and Jehu the
everything.
son of Nimshi shalt thou
So in
anoint to be
fact,
king over
he wouldn't
Israel,
go back.
and Elisha the son of Shaphat of Abel-Meholah
Him
shalt thou
knowing
anoint to be
that he
prophet in thy
believed
room. And
in
it
the Most
shall
High.
come
This
to
is, and
pass,
you
that him
have
that
to believe in
escapeth
the
the
Most High
sword
in
of
order to do
Hazael
this.
shall Jehu slay,
You
and
have to
him
be
that
well
escapeth
aware
from the
of
sword
who
of Jehu
Elijah
shall
is.
Elisha slay.
He's
Yet
a
I have
truth.
left me
He's a man of the Most High
7,000 in
Yahweh
Israel,
Shah.
all the knees which
He's a
have not
prophet.
bowed unto Baal,
It's not
and
like
every
you
mouth
read
which
this
hath not
and you
kissed
say,
him.
"What in the
So he
world?"
departed then.
Elijah just comes out of nowhere. No, these men were not ignorant. The Most High said, "Don't be ignorant of anything, great matter or small matter." So he know what's going on, and for him to slew all his cattle, it says 1 Kings 19 and 21, "And he returned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slew them, and bore their flesh with the instruments of the oxen." So he got rid of the instruments, the tools, and all of the things that it takes to keep up with these animals, the upkeep of them. He got rid of all of that. He got rid of the instruments. He got rid of the animals, and he got up out of there. He said what he had to say to his mom and dad. Got up out of there. He left the people behind, and that's what we got to understand in these last days. It's more important and it's more serious for us to leave all of these things behind and focus first and foremost on the Most High. That's the total package. That's the total goal. That's what we gotta understand. That's important in these last days. That's why we understanding that Elisha, us pattern ourselves after his works, is what we need to be understanding. That's exactly what we need to be understanding. Now let me get this real quick. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 33, and it reads, it says, Matthew chapter 6 and verse 33, it says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." So you seek the Most High and the kingdom. The Most High is going to add things unto you. He's going to send you that right person. He's going to send that person to give you the knowledge, the wisdom, understanding, and put you where you need to be. And then you're going to grow thereby. You're going to grow. The Most High is going to make sure you grow. So going back to 1 Kings 19 to 21, understanding that he left no room for going back. There wasn't no room for going back. That's why he got rid of the instruments. He got rid of the animals. And that's a well significant man that we can pattern ourselves after. As the Most High said in the book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 37. And it reads, it says, mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. So what did Elisha do? He marked the perfect man, which in his stead, in front of him was Elijah, a man of the Most High Yahweh Shem Shah, that endured until the end, as the Most High has taken him up. So marking that man, the end of that man is peace. And that's what he did. And it's the same thing Noah did. Let me get this in Genesis chapter 6. This is the book of Genesis chapter 6. And I'm going to start at verse 8. And it reads, it says, Genesis chapter 6 and verse 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with the Most High God. So that's important for us to understand, that these men have something that we should be learning from. So 1 Kings chapter 19 and verse 21, as we're still touching on this. Now, Elisha, he left everything. And what does Yahweh Shah find significant about that? What does he find important that Elisha did? Now, this is Luke chapter 14 and verse 26, and it reads, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. So as we see, it's not actually saying parabolically in a way to hate them, like I can't stand them, they get on my nerves, I'ma leave them, I'ma kill them, I'ma hurt them. It's actually saying putting the Most High first. If you don't put the Most High first, you can't be his disciple. And that's what Elisha did. So we have to put the Most High first. We have to put him before our own desires. We have to put him before our own motives. We have to put him before our mother and our father, especially when we're called. It's one thing to just wake up and say, okay, I'm going to put the Most High before my mom, my dad, my wife, my children. But when you call, when you know the Most High is putting that spirit on you, when the Most High has revealed things to you, even if it was a dream, a song, a movie, or he showed you something when you got in a bad accident or when you had a life-threatening moment, that's a whole different story. So you have to put these things before. You have to put you have to put the Most High before these things. Your wife, your daughter, your son, your family. Sometimes you even got to put your job before the Most High. You might even have to do it a lot of times. That's why the Most High said, let me get this in Mark chapter 8 and verse 34. And it reads, I'm going to highlight the green part and we're going to read this. Mark chapter 8 and verse 34. It says, and when he had called the people unto him with his disciples also, he said unto them, whosoever would come after me, let him deny himself. So you have to deny yourself, which may not feel good all the time. It's going to insist that you have discipline, integrity. Denying yourself, it may sound good on YouTube. It may sound good when you're on the highways and byways, but denying yourself doesn't feel good. When you walking with the Most High, it's not always a feeling that you're going to have to be attached to. It's not always an emotion that you have to be attached to. It's a commitment. Denying yourself, you got to be committed. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever would save his life shall lose it. Losing your life is not just committing suicide. It's putting the Most High first. When everybody else having fun, just doing the things of the modern society, things, you putting the Most High first. That's why, like we understanding with this lesson. What spirit are you walking in? Are you walking in the spirit of Elisha? He left his mom and dad. He got rid of all his instruments, got rid of all his cattle. And back in those days, if you had that, you was well off. So are you moving in the spirit of Elisha, or are you moving in the spirit of Ahab? Because we're gonna touch on Ahab as well, Lord willing. Now Elisha, he also he also had what a lot of people may not have this, according to when you're around somebody that's known as a perfect man, somebody that's ordered and doing right, holding fast their integrity. Now this is what Elisha did. Now this is 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 9, and it reads, I'm gonna start at verse 6, and it reads 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 6. It says, and Elijah said unto him, tarry, I pray thee, here, for the Lord Yahweh sent me to Jordan. And he said, as the Lord Yahweh liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And they two went on. Verse 7, and 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood to view afar off. And they too stood by Jordan. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters. And they were divided hither and thither, so that they two went over on dry ground. And it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I should do for thee. So Elijah said, hey, ask what I should do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. You see that? Now, he didn't know exactly what time this was going to take place, him having Elijah take it away from him, because this was a significant thing of this man's life. Him ministering and serving and helping Elijah. So at a time period where he knows and hears that he's going to be taken away from him, that could have set that man in a whole different spirit. But during this time, he asked this man, he said, I want a double portion of your spirit. And that's heavy. If you can spiritually discern, have a decent spiritual judgment, that's heavy. For him to ask for a double portion of his spirit, that's heavy right there. What was going through his mind? What was on his spirit for him to ask that? You can meditate on that however you want to. But me, I think about this a lot. I think about this a lot. And we have to ask the Most High to have a double portion of his spirit. Especially in these last days, with all this wickedness and evilness that's around us, and all of the things that we gotta deal with, our family members, our spouses, our children, working, paying bills. You should be asking the Most High for a double portion of his spirit. You should be. As he told us in St. John 14 and St. John 15, that he was going to allow his spirit to be with us, to remind us, to guide us, to protect us, to comfort us. But just imagine, you know, having a double portion. If somebody asks you if you want a burger or if you want a drink, How often would you hear somebody else say, "Hey, let me get two. Let me get two drinks. Let me get two burgers." How often will you have that happen? So this man's spirit, Elisha, it represents awareness, patience, obedience, steadfastness. Let me get this real quick in the Apocrypha. Okay, this is so heavy. This is beautiful. You have to be aware of this. So this is Sirach in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 11, verse 20. And it says, "Be steadfast in thy covenant, and be conversant therein, and wax old in thy work." So that's important. That's something that we got to constantly be bringing to the forefront. Now I want to get this as well. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. And let me get verse 58. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58. And it says, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord." And one of the reasons why we talking about that is because the Most High allowed this to be played out on a certain level. Now, when you go back to this in 1 Kings chapter 2, it's like Second Kings chapter 2. This is what Elijah told him. Now, we're going to read this again. Now, 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 9, it says, "And it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha, Ask what I should do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. And he said, Thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so." So, hey, he was steadfast. And let's read on. Verse 11. "And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces." So he seen that. He actually was able to see that and experience that. So therefore, that was given to him what he asked. Like the Most High said, you ask and you shall receive. And a lot of us, we're not even asking the Most High to increase our faith, which we should be. A lot of Israelites aren't asking the Most High to give them a double portion, which we should be. So that's the spirit that Elisha was moving in. Something that we should be able to meditate on in these last days. Because Elisha, he was healing people. When you read 2 Kings chapter 5, he was able to help a widow woman pay off her debts because her child was about to be given up for slavery. When you read 2 Kings chapter 4, he was able to heal the waters in Jericho. When you read 2 Kings chapter 2, the Jordan River, he gave Israel protection and guidance. He prophesied. This man, he was in the spirit. So, like the title says, what spirit are you walking in, Elisha or Ahab? Now, Ahab, let me get this in 1 Kings chapter 16. And I'm going to start at verse. Let me see where I want to start at. First Kings 16, and I'm going to start at verse 21. And it reads, 1 Kings 16-21. "Then were the people of Israel divided into two parts. Half of the people followed Timnah, the son of Ganath, to make him king, and half followed Omri. But the people that followed Omri prevailed against the people that followed Timnah, the son of Ginath, so that Timnah died and Omri reigned. In the 31st year of Asa, king of Judah, began Omri to reign over Israel 12 years. 6 years reigned he in Tarza. I'm going to jump down to verse 25. But Omri wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh and did worse than all that were before him. So who is Omri? Omri is the father of Ahab. So understanding in the days of old, our forefathers, they had a significant pattern. When one king went down, another rose up in their stead, as it might have been the father, and then the son come in. So these things actually had a significant pattern, one after the another. Now this is verse 26, 1 Kings 16:26. For he walked in all the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin, to provoke the Lord Most High God of Israel to anger with their vanities. Verse 27. Now the rest of the acts of Omri which he did, and his might that he shewed, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? Verse 28. So Omri slept with his fathers and was buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son reigned in his stead. So now you have Ahab coming after his father to reign in his stead. Verse 30. So like it. Verse 29. 1 Kings 16:29. And in the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab the son of Omri reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. Now some scholars say 22, and then some scholars will say it's actually 21 years. Now let me get this real quick. So these are the kings of Israel. So you have Omri and Ahab. 11 years Omri reigned, Ahab's father, and then 21 years Ahab reigned. Omri 885 to 874 BC and 874 to 853 BC. So 1 Kings 16 and verse 30. And Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh above all that were before him. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing to walk in the sins of Jeroboam. Now Jeroboam, as you see right here at the top, 930 to 909 BC, he reigned 22 years. As you see right there, the kingdom was divided 922 BC. So Jeroboam caused Israel, the northern kingdom, to sin. Worshiping idols and bowing down to idols. And Ahab is a well-known Baal worshiper, especially his wife and his father-in-law. Now, when you understand, as we're going to read down verse 30, so like in verse 31, 1 Kings 16 and 31, and it came to pass as if it had been a light thing to, so like 1 Kings 16 and 31, and it came to pass as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Baal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshiped him. And it started, way well before Ahab well before Ahab, but he just took it to another level. Verse 32, 1 Kings 16:32, and he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria, and Ahab made a grove. So this is what we don't want to be like. We don't want to be moving in the spirit of Ahab in these last days. Your woman is persuading you to even do more wickedness and be more evil. And your father is persuading you to do evil. Your father-in-law persuading you to do evil. So who you marry is very, very important. That's very important. Because this is all in accordance to Omri. Because even when Ahab was even younger, you know this had to been something that was set up with Omri and all of this stuff that he was able to have around him to influence him. Because in the ancient days, these marriages were already set up. The husband, so like the father would choose and set things already up. So this is already the 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 king of Zidon, the king of Tyre, because these are the Canaanites. Jezebel, was over there in that region, a Canaanite woman. So these rituals that they do still to this day, all of this folly and madness, it's stuff that just got revamped from the days of old. So 1 Kings 16:31, and it came to pass as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebath, that he took to wife Jezebel the daughter of Ethabaal king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he built in Samaria. Verse 33, and Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Lord Yahweh, Most High God of Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him. You see that? So this is things that we have to learn from. And also Ahab, he was making enemies, false worshiping, persecuting the prophets, murdering Naboth. So when you read 1 Kings 21st chapter, he even murdered Naboth. Now, I want to get this in 1 Kings real quick. 1 Kings chapter 21. And it reads, it says, I'm going to start at verse. I'm going to start at verse 14. 1 Kings 21:14. Then they sent to Jezebel saying, Naboth is stoned and dead. So this was a setup for this man to get put to death because of this land, this possession. He didn't want to sell it. Naboth didn't want to sell it, so it was forced for Ahab to buy it. It was a setup. Verse 15, and it came to pass when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead. So his wife was plotting on this too, which is wicked, you know. Now the Most High said, Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 23, for the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproof of instruction or the way of life to keep thee from the evil woman. Jezebel was an evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. An evil woman that was full of deceit, sorcery, witchcraft. Now, let's go back to this, because I wasn't planning on having this to be this long, but all praise to Yahweh Shem Shah. Now, 1 Kings 21:16. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whether he is gone down to possess it. And he didn't pay for this. He stone cold blooded had this man murdered. He didn't pay for that. Verse 19, and thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus said the Lord Yahweh, hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus said the Lord Yahweh, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. So the Most High said, hey, you took a hit on somebody, hey, I'm going to take a hit out on you. This how the Most High get down. Judgment will be paid. It's not worth it. If you want something that bad, you got to get it out of the mud. You got to work your behind off for it. Get it the right way. That way you ain't got to worry about the Most High coming back on you. That's why, like we said, are you moving in the spirit of Elisha, or are you moving in the spirit of Elijah in these last days? Because we got to make a living. The Most High got us under curses. We got to do what we got to do. But you can't go out like a sucker. You can't go out like Ahab. Now you got your woman trying to help you get on top, and that's a double wicked murder right there. There's two people that's involved getting this man put down. So the Most High got to take both of them down, clean, how he wanted to go down. 1 Kings 21:20, and Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O my enemy? What in the world? You calling the Most High's prophet your enemy? You have lost your mind. You have lost it. You got it down bad. You got it down bad. 1 Kings 21:20. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O my enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. So you gotta, hey, look, you gotta be aware of all of this wickedness that's around you. Something that he could have foreseen with his father and the men before him. That's why the Most High said in Job 15, so like Job 22, the book of Job chapter 22 and verse 15, the Most High said, Has thou marked the old way which wicked men have trodden? So you gotta, the same way you gotta mark that perfect man, like we went into in Psalms 37 and 37. You gotta be aware of these wicked men that have came before you as well, and look and see what they fell short of, what they done. How did they get there? How did they fall? What was their tactics? So the Most High said, Job 22:15, Has thou marked the old way which wicked men have trodden, which were cut down out of time, whose foundation was overflown with a flood. So the Most High cut them down straight up. Now let me get this in Psalms chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. So Ahab, he should have not walked in the counsel of his father army. Should not have walked in the counsel of Jezebel. Psalm chapter 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. So when you coming behind a wicked man, you cannot sit in that seat. You cannot. Let me get Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4. And I'm gonna start at verse 14, and it reads, it says, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. The Most High said in verse 15, avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. And so these are things that we gotta learn from. You gotta learn from this. And this Ahab was a man that was heavy into idolatry. Let me get this in Ezekiel. We gotta wind down. This is Ezekiel chapter 14, and I'm gonna start at verse 3. It says, son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart, and put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face. Should I be inquired of at all by them? So should the Most High be inquired of this? Should the Most High look at this and judge the matter? And this is how he feels right now in so-called 2026. Verse 4, Ezekiel 14:4. Therefore speak unto them and say unto them, thus said the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Most High God, every man of the house of Israel that setteth up his idols in his heart, and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face, and cometh to the prophet, I, the Lord Yahweh, will answer him that cometh according to the multitude of his idols. So even today, this could be if you put your wife before the Most High, your spouse before the Most High, your job before the Most High, your pleasures, your desires before the Most High. You put money before the Most High. The Most High, he's gonna answer to it. He's gonna answer to it. Verse 5. Ezekiel 14:5, that I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they are all estranged from me through their idols. And that's what he did to Ahab. Got up with him quick. Put him down in his place. Verse 6, Ezekiel 14:6. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel, thus said the Lord Yahweh Most High God, repent. So the Most High is bringing you this video, this lesson. All glory and honor to the Most High Yahweh. And we don't count this as a light thing to do. And this is for myself as well. I'm not exempt just because I'm doing this lesson. Just because however you think or however you look at me or view me, I got to repent too. I got to stay steadfast, unmovable, forsake the flesh and the cares of this world as well. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel, thus said the Lord God, repent and turn yourselves from your idols, and turn away your faces from all your abominations. And this is what the Most High want us to do. Let me go down to verse 8. It says, and I will set my face against that man, and will cut him, and will make him a sign and a proverb. And that's a crazy thing. That's a fearful thing. The Most High can make you a public example. He can make you that example, show people what not to do, what not to be like. And we seen that, and we still see that in Israel from time to time. The Most High is going to allow you to learn from this man. And will make him a sign and a proverb, and I will cut him off from the midst of my people, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Verse 11. Ezekiel 14:11, that the house of Israel may go no more astray from me, neither be polluted anymore with all their transgressions, but that they may be my people, and I may be their God Most High, said the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Most High God. You see that? Now I want to get this right quick. Ezekiel 14:22 and verse 23. And it reads, Ezekiel 14:22, yet behold, therein shall be left a remnant that shall be brought forth, and the Most High is going to bring their elect forth, both sons and daughters. Behold, they shall come forth unto you, and ye shall see their way and their doings, and ye shall be comforted concerning the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem. even concerning all that I have brought upon it, and they shall comfort you when ye see their ways and their doings. So you see the ways of Ahab, you see the ways of Elisha, and ye shall know that I have not done without cause all that I have done in it, said the
Though
Lord,
these 3
Yahweh
men were in
Bashem,
it,
Shah Most High
as I
God.
live,
And the
saith the
Most
Lord
High,
God, they shall deliver neither sons nor daughters.
so like in the Most High, he's going to be the one that's going to be just. He's going to bring justness, and it's going to be known, and you're going to see how he get down, and he's going to allow you to see by other men's falls, by other women falls, by the nation falls. And this is one of the reasons why we still are in captivity to this day, because of our forefathers. So, Lord willing, you take heed to this. This is Isaiah 26 and verse 3. And it reads, Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. Keep your mind on the Most High. Don't get so caught up in and worry about what people are saying, even if they're saying good things or whether they saying bad things. You keep your mind stayed on the Most High. You stay focused and stay single-eyed. Seek first the kingdom, and other things will be added unto you. So, Most High willing, this is edifying to you. Lord willing, we can continue to bring you more lessons back with showing you the scriptures, you know, and going in different things. So, like the title says, enter the world of encouragement. We had to enter the world, so we're gonna have to encourage you to stay 10 toes down. What spirit are you walking in? The spirit of Elisha or Ahab? Shalom.